So this is just my approach to guitars specifically, is, as you can see, these are left and right. These are like the main kind of strummy guitars through the verse and through the hook. So I know these are running throughout the major parts of the song, the verse, the pre, and the hook. I haven't added any plugins because I don't want to lose what they've got already. I know they were really happy because they told me. But what I have done is added a parallel, which I've called Guitar Crush. So what that means is I've created a separate track here, and I'm adding distortion. So I'm not changing the sound, I'm just adding it subtly. And you'll hear here like how little it's doing. It's at -27, and then you'll see this a lot in my sessions. I've automated it so the gain increases in the hook. So the energy of the guitars come up. It's so subtle. Like you barely even hear it. It's so subtle, but in the mix, it just gives it a tiny bit of a lift. And then I've done that with reverb and one I call wide guitars. So wide guitars only comes in the hook. So essentially what I was trying to do with this is everything's a little bit more narrow in the verses, and then to get that kind of energy and presence and width, everything gets wider in the hook, so you get more of a kind of atmosphere. And I've done that with these ones. So like, yeah, I think so. That's it on its own. It's so little, and the guitar, the wide ones is this one. Oh, I need to. And that's just got Echo Boy doing like kind of like ping-pongy wide delays. I don't know what that's on there. Yeah, so I have a bit of a thing of going off on tangents, but hopefully it's all useful. I don't change it per se, but I'll just add to it and just kind of like add to what's there already, especially if they're really attached to what there is already. They kind of said to me like, we're really happy with how the guitars sound. The main mix note that they gave me was just more about the energy. So things like that, where I'm changing the automation, that really helps. And I've also done that on my master fader as well. You can't really see it, but like in the start, the verse, and the pre, it's set, my master fader is set at 0.2. And then in the hook, it jumps up to 0 dB and then back down again. Like it's so, you'd never notice it. But the mix just jumps up ever so slightly. And all of those little kind of automation moves add to the kind of energy of the song, and it helps kind of ebb and flow it. Like, if I actually personally thought that this song started too loud, I thought this should be quieter, because when it goes into the verse, I would have liked a bit more of a drop. Like, but they really liked it, so I probably would have brought that down to like minus, well, not that much. Probably like -5 or -3, just to ride it out a little bit more. And all I'm trying to do there is like create emotion in the track, like ebb and flow, push and pull a little bit, and yeah, push and pull the listener. The majority of my panning is already done for me because that's done in like the production phase of things. So again, I've got like some left and right guitars. What would be a good example? That's stereo. So a lot of it is done already. However, what I might do sometimes, I'm trying to find a good example. This might be a good example. Yeah, so that's a stereo file. You can obviously see there that it's panned more towards the left, I think, there. But sometimes what I might do is split this into mono, mute that and mute that, and then this is my main, use this as my main track, and then I have more kind of control over the panning of it, rather than panning the audio file. Sometimes this can still clog up the center of the mix when it's stereo like that. So when I'm working in with a mono file, it allows me to like really push it to one side without kind of clogging up the middle. Another thing that is useful to do, it's not strictly panning per se, is mid-side EQ. Is anyone familiar with mid-side EQ and how to use it? Yeah. So I'll try and find a good example here. Again, not afraid to admit it, mid-side EQ is something that I learned way too late, but I'm really glad that I know about it now. It's really a useful tool. So mid-side EQ is kind of I know someone like Manon uses it like a lot towards the latter stages of her mix process. So she'll boost like the high ends, but only at the sides, which I think is quite a cool thing. I like to do this. So got my kick drum. My kick drum's hitting at 50. And then, in fact, I may just go to my music bus, which is getting everything. Guitars, synths, all of that good stuff. That's 50. This isn't the best example, but you'll get what I mean. Set that to mid, and then pull that down. So you're removing 50 hertz from the middle of the track on my instrumentation, just so the kick has more like room to kind of pump through there. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about panning really. I suppose panning is really important, and I use it most when I'm trying to give the listener kind of little kind of sprinkles of something to listen to. So I'm always trying to keep the listener interested and engaged. Sometimes if a song becomes a bit repetitive, you kind of switch off. But if you have a little twinkle here or a little like, I think in the verse here, there's a little guitar lick. Yeah, that's panned one way. So there's like little trinkles there of like cool things going on. I did actually the mono thing that I did to this, and you can see like it was panned like that, and I did split it into mono, and then they specifically picked out that and were like, yeah, we don't like that, so I just changed it back, and then I just worked with this again. So yeah, I suppose my thoughts on like panning is just like create room for the things that you need to be focused in the middle, and use the width of the song to create interest to the listener. That's what I would say.